Argentina legend Diego Simeone, who will always be slightly hated in England for his theatrics at the 1998 World Cup, is now quite rightly heralded as one of the best managers in world football. After Atletico Madrid knocked Liverpool out of the Champions League just before the season was suspended, Jurgen Klopp said he couldn't understand how Atletico play, to which Simeone responded by saying, "We try to exploit deficiencies in the opponent. That's what we do, and we try to win." Winning has become a habit for Atletico under Simeone in a way it hadn't been for a number of years prior to his arrival. Simeone inherited a squad languishing in mid-table in La Liga, who had won just one major trophy in the last 15 years. He guided them to a Europa League title in his first campaign. He hasn't finished lower than third in a single full season in the Spanish capital, winning one league title and reaching 2 Champions League finals. No video has been suggested more frequently or been met with more popularity than the request for me to take a look at Diego Simeone's first starting 11 at Atletico Madrid in recent weeks. Simeone was appointed as the new Atletico boss on December 23, 2011, right at the start of the winter break, meaning his first game didn't arrive for 2 weeks. The match itself was a 0-0 draw away at Malaga's side, boasting the likes of Isco, Santi Cazorla and Ruud van Nistelrooy, but this isn't a video about them. Here is the Atletico Madrid 11 from Diego Simeone's first game. Where are they now? Thibaut Courtois, Real Madrid. Thibaut Courtois may only be 27 years of age, but this is already his 9th season of regular top-flight football. The towering Belgian number 1 spent 3 seasons on loan with Atletico Madrid, and Diego Simeone arrived midway through the first of those 3 campaigns. Courtois impressed in his debut campaign, despite his tender years, being named as the Belgian goalkeeper of the year. Following his 3rd season in Madrid, Chelsea decided to make him their future number 1, moving on club legend Petr Cech. Courtois played exactly the same number of games for Chelsea, 154, as he had for Atletico Madrid, before returning to the Spanish capital in a move to Real Madrid. Following a fairly shambolic debut campaign in an utterly catastrophic season all round by Real Madrid's high standards, Courtois has put in some vastly improved displays this season. Meanwhile, Atletico replaced him with the superb Jan Oblak. Luis AMARANTO PEREA, out-of-work manager. An Atletico Madrid legend, Luis AMARANTO PEREA joined the mattress makers way back in 2004, at a time when Diego Simeone still played for the club and Fernando Torres led their line, and he didn't leave the Vicente Calderon Stadium until 2012, by which stage the Atletico squad looked very different. A fast and energetic fullback, Pereira joined Atletico from Boca Juniors, and when he left, it was for Liga MX side Cruz Azul. Capped some 72 times by Colombia, Pereira was forced to retire through injury at the age of 36, and he decided to settle down back in Madrid and become a coach. Following a brief spell coaching the youth ranks back at Atletico under Simeone, Pereira was offered the top job at second-tier side Leones in his native Colombia. The move proved to be short-lived, and Pereira hasn't been involved in coaching since 2019. Diego Godin, Inter Milan. At the age of 4, Diego Godin apparently almost drowned whilst trying to catch a fish in a river at a family gathering. Thankfully, he didn't, and 30 years later the boy from Rosario, Uruguay, now captains his country, as well as being their all-time record appearance holder. Godin made his name in Uruguay with Cherra Nacional before being brought to the European game by Villarreal. Atletico Madrid pulled off a masterstroke to sign Godin for £6.6 million in 2010, and the ever-dependable centre-back spent the next 9 years in Madrid. Incredibly disciplined, always willing to put his head in harm's way, and a terrific reader of the game, Godin must surely go down as one of Atletico's all-time greats. Simeone described Godin as irreplaceable when the centre-back departed last summer for Inter Milan, and Godin is now playing under another pragmatic and successful boss in Antonio Conte. Álvaro Domínguez, retired. A terribly unfortunate footballer, Álvaro Domínguez was long hailed as one of the best young defenders in the Spanish game. He came through the youth ranks of Atletico Madrid, having arrived from Real Madrid, aged only 11. Domínguez made appearances for Spain at under 19, 20, 21 and 23 level before making his senior team debut and winning his first caps, aged 23. In 4 years in the Atletico first team, Domínguez made 120 appearances before making an €8 million move to the Bundesliga in 2012. He joined a Borussia Mönchengladbach side that looked to be going places, but having finished 4th the previous season, they dropped to 8th in Domínguez's debut campaign. From 2013 onwards, Domínguez was plagued by injuries. From a broken collarbone to a dislocated shoulder, he seemingly couldn't catch a break, but it was a later discovered back injury that proved to be the most serious. When specialists were finally called in, they couldn't believe Domínguez was attempting to play at all. the defender had 3 herniated discs and complications with his spinal canal. He underwent 2 operations, but it was no use, and the former Atletico star was left with no option but to retire from football, aged only 27. Felipe Luis, Flamengo. Brazilian left-back Felipe Luis spent 9 years with Atletico Madrid in total, interrupted roughly at the halfway stage by a single season at Chelsea. Luis is a dogged and determined fullback with a tremendous work rate, thus making him an ideal fit in Diego Simeone's side. Restricted to 44 caps for Brazil by the brilliant Marcelo, who starred for Atletico Madrid's rivals, Luis made exactly 333 appearances for Atletico Madrid. He left the club for a second and presumably final time in 2019, joining Brazilian outfit Flamengo, where he has since won 4 trophies in less than 2 years. Gabi, Al Sadd. Among the finest uncapped footballers of this millennia, Gabi was and is a superb defensive midfielder. Equally adept at breaking up play as he is dictating the rhythm of the game and spraying passes about the pitch, he spent more than a decade starring in La Liga, but never received a call-up to Spain's senior team. Born in Madrid, Gabi began his career with Atletico and he returned in 2011 following 4 seasons with Real Zaragoza. In total, the 36-year-old made 417 appearances for his boyhood club, and he now plays under Barcelona legend Xavi at Qatari outfit Al Sadd. TIAGO Mendes, Portugal youth coach. Nicknamed the washing machine during his time at Lyon due to his ability to navigate tricky situations, cleaning up play, and delivering the ball to one of his teammates. Followers of the Premier League may recall that TIAGO Mendes spent a single season as a regular fixture at Chelsea under Jose Mourinho, but it was with Atletico Madrid that the Portuguese international played the lion's share of his football. TIAGO arrived in Madrid in January 2010 on loan, and he didn't depart until the summer of 2017 when he retired from football. Now aged 38, TIAGO previously spent a season working as Diego Simeone's assistant, and he has been working with the under-15 and under-20 age groups with Portugal since June 2019. Diego, Flamengo. Diego and Filipe Luis were teammates in Madrid for Diego Simeone's first game in charge of the club, and the experienced duo are teammates once again now in Rio de Janeiro. Attacking midfielder Diego was a superb player to watch at the peak of his powers, which I would suggest came during his time with Werder Bremen. He spent the 2011-12 season on loan with Atletico Madrid and later joined the club on a permanent basis in January 2014. That move proved short-lived, with Diego departing during the following summer for Fenerbahce. Following 2 seasons in Turkey, the Brazilian international returned to his homeland in 2016, impressing so much with Flamengo that he won a first cap since 2009 for Brazil in 2017. Juanfran, Sao Paulo. Primarily a right-back, former Spanish international Juanfran started Diego Simeone's first game in charge of Atletico Madrid on the right wing. Simeone never has been the most expansive, and Juanfran brought energy and added defensive solidity. A product of the Real Madrid academy, Juanfran only ever made 11 first-team appearances for Real, and he joined Atletico following 4.5 years with Osasuna. 8.5 seasons back in the capital followed, with Juanfran registering some 355 appearances before following in the footsteps of a few players in this 11 and moving to Brazil. Juanfran now plays for Sao Paulo alongside current and former Brazilian internationals like Hernanes and Dani Alves. Eduardo Salvio, Boca Juniors. Playing on the left flank for Atletico Madrid in Diego Simeone's first game in charge of the club was a young compatriot of his named Eduardo Salvio. Salvio joined Atletico from Lanús aged only 19, and he spent 2.5 years contracted to the club, 1 spent on loan at Benfica. That loan move became a permanent deal in the summer of 2012, and Salvio spent the next 7 seasons in Lisbon. Following 14 trophies in the Portuguese capital, Salvio returned to Argentina with Boca Juniors. Capped 11 times by Argentina, occasionally at fullback, Salvio has since scored 6 goals in 17 games for Boca. Radamel Falcao, Galatasaray. Atletico Madrid's star man when Diego Simeone arrived at the club, Radamel Falcao was midway through his first season in the Spanish capital when Simeone took charge of the club. That season, Falcao scored 36 goals in 50 games, earning his first FIFPro World 11 inclusion in 2012. He followed that up with 34 goals in 41 games the following season, earning him links with virtually every super club in Europe. There was shock then when Falcao penned a lucrative deal with league side Monaco, and shortly after his arrival he suffered a devastating ACL injury. Falcao has never quite been the same animal since, although he has been very prolific at times, and he scored 10 goals in 20 games since joining Turkish Super League side Galatasaray last summer. That was the Atletico Madrid starting 11 from Diego Simeone's first game in charge of the club. Simeone only made 2 substitutes that day, and the first man to be introduced was Arda Turan. Turan's dogged determination and ability to produce something out of nothing made him a standout player under Simeone for a number of years, before he was snapped up by Barcelona. That move went very sour, and Turan has since had a bit of a meltdown both on and off the pitch. Incredibly, he is still contracted to Barca, having signed a 5-year contract back in 2015, but he hasn't played a game for the club in 3 years. Simeone's only other substitute was former Spanish international Adrian Lopez, who left Atletico in 2014 and now plays for newly promoted Osasuna. That's it for today's video, and obviously Diego Simeone is still at the Wanda Metropolitana now. Apologies for my voice in this video, it appears to have gone a bit. Thank you all for watching, smash the like button mercilessly.